Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm a writer and an author, and today I'd like to tell you my story. I live on a farm in Hartbeespoort, a small town outside of Joburg in South Africa, and it is absolutely beautiful here and very, very inspiring. I grew up in Durban, and at 9 years old, I remember driving through the Tala Game Reserve and just being so inspired by the amazing beauty of nature that I actually wrote my first poem. I fell in love with writing then, and started to write more and more. I wrote a few poems after that, and actually entered them into some poetry competitions, and was included in a couple anthologies with adult writers even. So that really inspired me to keep going and try to write more. I started homeschooling just a few years later. And because of that, my mom decided that we should try and do a few extramurals and some nice socializing. So she found out about creative writing classes with a wonderful lady named Felicity Keats. Now, Felicity is an absolutely inspiring lady. She is amazing with all the things she does. The fact that she teaches children to write, but not only that, she actually publishes their books and puts them into underprivileged schools. That really touched my heart, and still does today. So I started writing with her and I fell in love with it all over again. I remember sitting on her couch with some friends and my brother and writing all together, and just the absolute peace that was there with this bunch of kids. And I remember taking breaks and we had orange juice or there was lemonade, and my friend suggested, nope, we should combine them. So then it became a thing, orange juice and lemonade. It was very odd, and still today the taste brings back the memory of creative writing. And of course biscuits as well. I remember sitting outside, and Felicity always told us that when you do your writing you can go and sit and you have to read it out loud. So you could read aloud to a tree or something outside, and we would go and read out in the garden. And it was beautiful. It was such a peaceful spot. It was at one of these writing sessions that I wrote my first book, Jenny and the Trouble of Going to Bed Late, which was a story about a cat and a bird. And the bird was called Jenny, and Jenny was playing and messing around a bit and went to bed late. And because she'd gone to bed late, she didn't get a good perch in the tree, and the cat caught her. And the cat's owner did rescue Jenny, and she learned never to go to bed late again. Felicity helped me publish that book at 11 years old. I had my first book launch, and it was absolutely stunning. I then followed it up with another story when I was 12, another book called Witching Wonders, and from there I just loved writing. We then moved to Joburg shortly after that, and unfortunately couldn't continue with the writing classes with Felicity. However, we did do some writing workshops with some of the homeschoolers in Joburg, and sort of spread the news of creative writing, and especially using the right brain method with some of our friends in Joburg, and that helped as well. Then I became a teenager, and yeah, all the drama that goes along with that. And I have to say that writing helped me so much during those years. A lot of dark poetry, a lot of teenage angst, and all of that emotions coming out. And a time when a lot of young people, and myself included, feel that nobody understands them. At least there was pen and paper, and putting my thoughts down onto paper made me feel understood, and made me feel like I could express myself in such a unique way. So it definitely helped me. In fact, I've got quite a lot of those poems that I've kept safe, and I'm currently writing some short stories based on those poems, because they are part of me, and writing helped me to put that down onto paper. So yes, that was me as a teen. So when I was about 16, I was staying at the farm in Hartbeespoort at this stage with my parents, and I was so inspired by some of the animals on the farm that I started to write a short story about them. It was a children's story, and I just felt the spark of inspiration hit. I'd been working really hard at this point and not writing much. I was finishing my schooling with homeschooling, and I'd started studying Montessori education to become a teacher, which is my other big passion. So sitting down and actually having a story was quite a surprise. I remember the feeling of watching the goats. We had some goats playing outside on the farm, and they were so mischievous. And I just had to get inside, and I rushed inside and got like blank paper that I grabbed out the printer, and I just started writing. And I sat there, and it was about half an hour, and I just sat and wrote the story. And it just came, as stories do sometimes. So I had written this story about these goat kids, and the one that was a little bit different from the others, he was a different color, and again, based on these actual goats, the one was actually born a different color in a set of triplets. So in my story, I wrote a story about these 4 goats and the one that was a different color and their mom and his adventures as he tried to be the same as everybody else, and then eventually realized that being different actually makes you special. So I called the story Being Special. Put it away, didn't think much of it, until a few days later, when I got a surprising phone call from Felicity Keats. And we were talking and catching up a little bit. I was quite interested in doing her mentor course and becoming a creative writing teacher and inspiring other kids to do this. So while we were talking, she asked me if I had any books that were a series. And I sort of had this blank, strange moment and went, yeah, sure. Then as I hung up the phone, I realized, what? What was I actually saying? I had one book, I had one story, and it wasn't edited. It was this rough draft of a story. Anyway, so Felicity then informed me that I had a couple weeks, and if I would like to, obviously, there was an opportunity to publish a series of 5 books. They had to be about 40 pages. They had to be aimed at children and needed to be edited and illustrated in those couple weeks. So that was quite a daunting task. I sat down to write, and amazingly, the other stories just came. There was a story inspired by our sheep, the one of which was an absolute neat freak and refused to go anywhere that her coat would get dirty. So that inspired the second story, The Sheep Family Get Dirty. So I decided to write a story about dyslexic dairy cow who was called Diary. And that was in honor of my sister who struggles a bit with dyslexia. She actually did creative writing with Felicity as well, as did my brother. And they both published books as kids. Which really helped inspire them as well, especially as my brother has ADHD, and it was impressive to see him actually sitting for the writing lessons and being engaged in writing enough to actually publish a book. So then I wrote another book, Being Bored, all about the goat kids again and their cousins who come from the city. That was in honor of our move out onto the farm after we'd been living in Joburg for a while, and all our city friends, and just a completely different lifestyle once we'd moved out here, which I struggled with and then completely fell in love with. And then I wrote the final story, The Missing Egg, about a hen who gets a bit frustrated having to sit on eggs all the time and eventually loses her egg, and all the drama that unfolds and how she eventually gets it back. Again, based on experiences, we have quite a few chickens and some beautiful organic eggs. And yeah, it's quite frustrating when they have to sit on it for the 28 days. And we've had a few that were pretty useless moms, unfortunately. So that really inspired that story. So then I quickly finished writing the stories and then started the process of editing, which takes a while. And also trying to just make sure that they were formatted correctly and everything. One thing I love about Felicity is she keeps your voice. She guided me with the editing, but she definitely kept the voice that I was trying to go for, especially writing for children. And then I started the process of illustrating, which is not my big talent, unfortunately. So I spent much more time on the drawing than I did actually on the writing. But I did enjoy it, and then I had my beautiful series of books. And there's one, that's the Funny Farm series. This is the first one being special, and there's a little goat. And Felicity has recently put them together in an anthology, which is very exciting. I've also written a little comprehension booklet that goes with them for schools and things like that. So this, I started my journey again, all over again. And at 17, we did the book launch. I came down to Durban. I dressed up in all dungarees and farm clothes and did the book launch, and it was absolutely amazing and was very, very exciting. We then worked with trying to get them into underprivileged schools, and I'm still trying to get sponsorship and things. It's one of my goals to try and get this book series that's actually based in South Africa and about a South African farm into South African schools. So that was one of my big moments in my life, and it was absolutely amazing, standing up in front of everybody and telling them about my story, a bit like I'm doing right now. Now, about the same time as I was doing the book launch, I was reading a competition in the O magazine, Oprah Winfrey's magazine in South Africa, and there was a competition called Real Woman Making a Real Difference, and I thought, okay, this is Felicity for sure. So I wrote an entry for them, a little letter about the amazing woman she is and the difference that she made in my life, as well as the difference that she makes in so many children's lives across South Africa. They were very impressed, and I got a phone call, amazingly enough, when I was actually down in Durban for the book launch with Felicity, that they had accepted my entry and Felicity would be one of the winners. But not only that, they were quite inspired by my stories, so they actually they doubled the prize and made us joint winners, which was incredible. As a 17-year-old, it was an absolutely amazing experience. They organized for us to do hair and makeup, and they did a photo shoot with us. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And they donated some money for us, and I used the money, the 10,000 rand that I got, to actually put my book series into some underprivileged schools in the area. So yeah, dreams come true. After all this excitement, I started a new chapter in my life. At 18 years old, I was so impassioned with Montessori education that I decided to start my own school, as there was no other Montessori schools in my area, and I was not prepared to move back to the city. So I started Montessori Country Kids. This was in 2008, and we've been going strong since then. I started with just preschool and then expanded into primary school because that is where I've discovered my passion, and I absolutely love teaching. And especially being able to incorporate stories. I use storytelling all the time in the classroom. Whatever topic we are learning about, I will make up a story about it. And the kids love that. And they love helping me make up stories as well. And we'll go around and we'll make up stories together. It's an amazing skill to be able to have, because, for instance, if we have 5 minutes, we're waiting for something, we're doing, we finished our work, we're doing something, then I'll just start telling them a story and I'll act it out, and I'll get so enthusiastic that oftentimes we end up being late for other lessons and other things that are going on. So I love storytelling, and I love writing the stories for them as well and making little books for them. But even more than that, I love inspiring them to write, especially as these children learn to write and read, how they can just suddenly spark and realize that they can make their own stories. I often show them my stories, and they love, especially the books that I published when I was 11, 12 years old, and they can't believe, wow, you look so young. And even me at 17, they're quite surprised that their teacher was a kid. So yes, I try and inspire them as much as I can to write, and just getting them to realize that a love of reading will set you up for life, and a love of writing, and how much it can help you in so many areas. As part of this, I had studied with Felicity and done her creative writing mentor course, and I started my own creative writing club, Creative Kids, and in Hartbeespoort at the Montessori school. I have had a wide range of different ages over the years, including some adults, doing adult mentoring classes. And it's an incredible thing to be able to take this gift that I was given by Felicity and actually give it to others and inspire them to write. It's incredible to just see how they suddenly blossom. They open up, and it's like an explosion. I can't even describe it. When a child or an adult will come to you for the first time, I wrote this. And that sense of pride that they have. And that inspires me. I will often, when they're busy writing, I'll end up jotting down things as well, because I just can't help it. So yeah, that was a gift that Felicity gave me, and it's an incredible thing. In fact, I actually recently spoke at a International Montessori conference, where I did some training to help other teachers learn how to use this amazing writing method, the right brain writing, and to help spread it to other Montessori schools and conventional schools as well. And that was very inspiring, and everybody was amazed. It's such a powerful experience. I remember we did our 10 minutes of free writing at this workshop at the conference, and the one lady just burst into tears, and she said how moved she was that this, surrounded by all these professional teachers, and you've had a hard day of doing lectures and all these things, and suddenly having this chance to write, and all the feelings that came out, she was stunned. And I sort of went, yes, that's what happens in writing. And reading it out to each other, and just the safe space and the community that it created. It was an incredible experience. I am planning to do more of these workshops for teachers and just try and spread the word, as Felicity does. So that was a huge point for me as well, being able to speak at a conference and actually inspiring others to include creative writing in this way, and such a fun activity for kids to do and adults as well. I still write as much as I can when I can. I'm busy. I've decided to not only do children's writing, although that is my passion. I am working on a fantasy novel at the moment and trying to get into that genre as well. I've done a bit of young adult writing, which I really enjoy. So yeah, my dream is to actually complete a full-length novel. And so yeah, there's a few projects ongoing at the moment, so we'll see one day. I do a lot of short stories, and some blog writing as well, which is quite fun, just to get my thoughts out there, and poetry. I still love my poetry. I often write, especially at this time during this crisis around the world and the pandemic. I find myself turning to poetry to deal with the emotions and the feelings. It really has helped. Days where I felt so overwhelmed by everything that's going on, I can sit and just write. And sometimes it's just scrambled eggs, as Felicity says, where it's all random thoughts. Sometimes it's hectic. Sometimes I'm surprised by the thoughts that come out. But it is so healing to be able to just get that out and express yourself in such a way. So yeah, I've been taking the time to do a bit of writing and really enjoyed it. And then I saw on Facebook that Felicity was doing an online writing session, and I was just amazed. The fact that she is still going so strong and she's still doing so much and learning technology to be able to do these writing sessions, I was in straight away. I was so excited. And yeah, got up and got ready and did this writing session. And as we started, and Felicity started with, okay, everyone relax and close your eyes, and her whole meditation that she does, I was transported. I was back on that couch as an 11-year-old. The taste of lemonade and orange juice in my mouth and biscuits, and I was there. It was an absolutely incredible experience. Hearing her reciting the rules and the same words that she uses that I use for the kids that I am mentoring now. And just this whole generation of kids that have the same words that she gave to me and that she is still using. It was a breathtaking experience. I literally we were supposed to be closing our eyes and getting ready to write, and I couldn't stop shaking. It was such a moving experience. And as soon as I opened my eyes and started to write, I wrote a piece about just how moving it was, and how I was back in that couch and writing again as an 11-year-old child. And it was such an amazing experience. As we were talking afterwards, I actually realized that it is exactly 20 years since I started writing with her. So it was a perfect sort of circle, and how life has so many turns to it. So it was an amazing experience, and it inspired me. And then Felicity asked me to do this video and sort of share my story. And it's been an amazing, incredible, wonderful experience. And yes, my adjective use is challenging at times. I just feel so passionate about this. I feel so passionate about the right brain writing method that she uses, the way that she helps kids to just believe in themselves so much. And it helped me. I was such a shy child. I didn't speak to anybody. Literally, I would sit in any group situation with a book in a corner. And writing helped, because it helped me get my thoughts out onto paper and realize that I do have an incredible voice, that I do have things to say that can benefit other people. I've done quite a bit of writing during the pandemic, and also in the last couple months, that I've been sharing with people, and the feedback that I've gotten on these little short posts and things that I've been writing has been amazing and inspiring. And just realizing that we all have our own unique voice, and we all have something to say, and that it's maybe what we are saying in that moment is what someone else needs to hear. Maybe if we just share and put our thoughts down, we can inspire others and make a difference in someone else's life. So that is why I write. For myself, to be able to share my thoughts and express myself, and for others, to inspire them to also share their thoughts. And it's an amazing gift, and I thank Felicity all the time. Every time that I put pen to paper, and the fact that I am able to write, and she gave me this gift, and I hope to spread it and give it to as many people and young children that I can. So, that is my story. Thank you for watching.